Good morning. I hope everybody had a great 4th of July. I am trying to find this damn video that I just uploaded, and let's see. I can't find it. Okay, I'll have it. I think it's still uploading. I don't know why, but I have the audio of it as well. So, good morning, everybody. Good morning. I guess we are hearing, hi, Black Hat Music. Good morning. Um, I'm spinning. I'm here. Okay, I wasn't seeing my chat, but I have it, and I saw Black Hat in my on my StreamYard. Now I see it. Hi, Just Speedo. Hi, Gwen. Hi, Mari, Wisco Gal. Um, who else am I missing? Uh, Gamecock Jenny. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So we're hearing about the flooding in Kerrville, and right now it's been updated to there is 20 people that are confirmed, well, 24 people confirmed dead. They're missing 20 girls from Camp Mystique in Kerr County. And this is sad. So we used to go camping at San Marcos, which is right on the river, the lake, whatever you want to call it. And when I was doing volunteering for the Boy Scouts, there's been like 237 people rescued and evacuated. And this happens, they say, once in 100 years in Texas. Okay. So I do have some video of the boys that were talking about them being rescued. And I need to pull that. But I have another video with Alex, okay? Alex Hines from me, myself, and my ex, or me, you, and my ex. And I got permission from Alex to share his story time on what really happened with the Real Housewives of Atlanta and Marcus and Alex. And I have it. He's proven he has the text messages and everything. And I might just have to go to TikTok to get it. But I am hi, He-Man. Good morning, Jen. I have the permission. I will show the email, the messages he sent to me to say I have permission to use it, because he's done interviews and stuff about it. But I wanted permission to play his story time. And that's what I normally do. If I play something off of TikTok or anywhere else, I'll get permission to use it. Therefore, you can't come back and go, oh, that's a copyright. And I just don't do that. And I hope all of you guys had a happy 4th of July. I know, I went out yesterday. I made the potato salad, and a friend of mine, because they know I like steaks. So they had bought steaks and everything. And I told she couldn't find a nice porterhouse, so she got me a ribeye. And I said, okay, that'll be good. And I told them, don't season my steak. I will season my own steak. Do not cook my steak before I get there. So when I got there, I'm seasoning my steak, right? And everybody's in the kitchen. And I brought my own little seasoning and stuff. Thank you, Jen. He-Man, it has been a bit. So I brought my own seasonings and stuff. I put it in a little bag, and I'm seasoning my steak. And why do you not think 5 or 6, it was like 6 people asking me, can I do theirs as well? And I was like, oh my God. So I started looking in her pantry to see what she had. And she did have some really good seasonings. So I sparsely did mine, not the way I normally do it, so I can have enough to put on theirs. So I sat there and I ate for maybe a good 10, 15 minutes. We laughed for a little bit, and my ass was back at my house by 2:30. I'm serious. I didn't want to be out there with all of that fireworks and shooting and stuff at night. So that's what I did. So here we
All right. So what's your name, bud?
Hi, my name is Ruffin Boyette. I'm one of the campers from Camp Lahana, one of the camps that flooded. And I had a first-hand view of the flood and so the cabins were flooding and the walls were like they broke down, and all of the campers in those cabins
Bless young.
had to go up on the rafters, and they had to wait there until they could swim out. And my brother here, he had to swim out of his cabin.
Really? Here, do you want to here? Can I mic you up some?
Teach your kids to swim, people.
Okay. And so you had to swim out of your cabin?
Yes.
Can you tell me about that?
So the flood started getting bigger, and it was going up to, we have bunk beds in our cabins, and it was going up to the top bunk, and we had one choice, and we had to swim out of our cabins.
What time was it?
It was like, we woke up at 2.
Yeah, we had to wake up at like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
What'd you wake up to? Say, people telling you to wake up?
I didn't fall
people were
asleep.
screaming.
I didn't fall asleep. Like, I couldn't sleep because of the lightning.
Yeah, people were screaming that there was a flood. There was a lot of water on the floor.
Yeah, I was the first one awake, and basically one of the other kids in my cabin, he woke up the counselor, and the counselor was like, what? And then all the other campers woke up to that what? And they were like, oh my God, we're flooding.
We're having coffee too, Black Hat.
Yeah, and some cabins like flooded away.
Floated
But
away.
nobody died.
No one died.
Yeah.
We are thankful for that. But on the way here, we saw all of like the other camps destroyed, like obliterated.
And
Oh my God.
tell me,
these
how did you
kids.
guys get out of there? They put you guys on buses, or did you have
Yes.
to wait?
Yeah, we had to get on a bus.
Yes, we had to get on a bus. We were in other cabins for like cabins on hills for about 17 hours
We
waiting
hosted a
the
cabin.
buses get here. And
Listen to him. We hosted a cabin.
it was not fun.
It was not fun.
What are your names, guys?
My name's Pierce Boyette, and his name is...
And my name is Ruffin Boyette.
Okay, and how do I spell those guys?
It's
R-U-F-F-I.
Okay, let's
P-I-E-R-S.
do Pierce first.
P-I-E-R-S.
Okay, and your last name?
B-O-Y-E-T-T.
B-O-I what?
E-T-T. No E at the end.
Got it. All right, and Ruffin, how do I spell your name?
Oh my God, you're so
R-U-F-F-I-N.
cute.
Okay, so you guys fight. Sounds like a really long day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you feeling right now?
Tired. Not hungry.
He's got his Buc-ee's.
At least not
Look
anymore.
at that.
All right. I'm glad you guys are okay. Thanks for talking to us. I appreciate it.
Okay, that was, I wanted you to see these guys right here, but here is the
has turned deadly in Kerrville. At least 13 deaths have been confirmed so far after
It's
heavy rain in that
24 now.
area produced more than a foot of rainfall since last night. The National Weather Service is describing the severe weather conditions as life-threatening,
Black Cat.
and a flash flood emergency was declared this morning. As communities evacuate across Texas Hill Country and search and rescue
know
efforts
why
continue,
these people
our Rulon Belogan is bringing us a
give them
closer
credit?
look at the damage.
I don't know. I wouldn't have done that.
We made our way closer to the Guadalupe River itself. You can see it has receded, and
you.
once
That's
that
the
water
name
has
of the
gone
river.
back down,
Guadalupe.
we can really see some of the damage that it has made. Those strong flood wash water really doing a lot of damage here. You can see asphalt's damage due to the flood water itself, and a significant number of trees also just washed away. Now, as we pan to the left here, the damage of this playground, several trees toppled over on top of it. It would be take a while for people to get it cleaned up. Now, this is the area a number of people tell us that they planned to watch the fireworks this evening. We spoke with a couple who lives not too far from Louise Hayes Park here that went to bed last night anticipating showing up here for the fireworks, but instead had to evacuate elsewhere. Here's a listen to them.
I live down the street, and so the water was, we got evacuated in the morning. But I was pretty lucky that my sister, she lives on a higher level, and so we've been out over there all day. But when we passed by here in the morning, it was like water to here. I mean,
Water
like
the roadway?
yeah, all the way up to here, all the way up to the sign right there.
So we also met a couple from Houston who was watching the news this morning, saw what was happening here, got in their car and immediately drove over to Kerrville to try and assist in any way they can.
And as crazy as it is, this isn't normal, and you never know what people's situations are, and if we have things that are
Any kind of resource.
you know, and we have the resources to do it, you know, then we're going to help when we can help. I mean, this is bad.
The flood water is really causing a lot of damage in the entire area here. We spoke with the county judge of Kendall County, who told us at least 50 people are seeking shelter at the Comfort High School. In Kerrville, rhoa Logan, KPRC 2 News.
That's the flooding that happened in Kerrville. And right now there are 20 girls missing from their campsite. They're not saying that they're deceased. They just can't locate them. So there's been an all-night search going on. But it's been raining in parts of Texas now for months. I know it comes down really heavy, then it stops. When I tell you it floods in Texas and Louisiana, it floods in a lot of places, but yeah, really, really bad. And my prayers are going out to all of these people. And then we have
And tonight we have the results of a story.
Hold on, I want to stop this. So I was telling you about this human trafficking story and yesterday, but I had found out about it. So there was a mass one that was done, and they got 60 kids. I think in Florida, it was like about 200 and some odd kids. And the forecast, Wendy, if it's raining, it's like when Harvey hit us. Black Hat is here. When Harvey hit us, it just sat there. It sat on top of us. When I tell you it rained, it was drizzling, then it rained, then it was slack up. And the lines in the store to go get supplies was ridiculous. It just sat there. It never moved off of us. And it was flooding all up by the overpasses. You couldn't even see Beltway 8. That's how bad. 45, 59, that's how bad. Now, when they say flash flood warnings, they do send that. But you got to think about it. These kids were probably at camp for like a week already. Yeah, Harvey was bad. Harvey hit us hard, and it just sat there. It wasn't moving. And, it flooded. The bayous flooded. Everything flooded. And when it tells you if you can't see, don't drive through. And there are signs all up on the freeways, all everywhere, underpasses. People try to, if they can't see it, because don't drive in it. Don't drive, especially if you got to go on the underpass. But when you get to the point where it's flooded and you can't, the Beltway and everything else, you need to just stay home. Stay home. When we had the ice storm, stay home. Just stay home. We had rolling blackouts. If I had power in the daytime, I didn't have power at night, and it's freezing. I had my grandson with me, and I just put him in my bed and put a whole bunch of blankets. During the day, I would charge up his laptop, charge up his phone, charge up my laptop so he can watch movies and stuff on the laptop. So normally I had lights during the day, but by 4:30, 5 o'clock, no power until the next morning. So I really hope those girls are fine. I hope they find them. I hope they move to higher ground. But right now it's 20 girls that are missing from a camp. And my prayers are going out to all of them. So we had 60 children that were rescued in a trafficking bus. Okay, this is crazy.
We first brought you on Friday. A 2-week multi-agency operation recovered a record number of children from dangerous situations right here in the Bay Area. 8 on Your Side went undercover with investigators as many of the children were being exploited by human traffickers. News Channel 8's Jeff Patterson is in Tampa with more. Jeff.
Good evening, Stacey. 60 children were rescued in this 2-week operation that spanned Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco counties. 60 children taken out of incredibly dangerous situations that some people have called a living nightmare. It's an operation that took months of planning to identify at-risk children and the people putting them there.
Kids that were in critical danger, many the victims of trafficking, many missing kids.
The U.S. Marshal Service organized the operation with the help of law enforcement agencies on both sides of the bay. 20 agencies, more than 100 people involved in rescuing 60 at-risk children and arresting 8 people. Our cameras were there as children were recovered and arrests made.
The majority were being trafficked. The 8 people that we arrested, it wasn't just a child. Some of them had multiple children working for them. You know, in the old days, we used to call these people pimps. Now we call them human traffickers, but they're criminals.
The 8 people arrested are now charged with crimes ranging from human trafficking to child endangerment and drug possession.
Look at this. Look at this guy right here. Are you kidding me?
These child were underages. If you look at the average age of the offender, well into their late 30s and 40s. And then the age of the children were from 9 to 17.
But 9 to 17. These old ass men, probably some women too. Come on.
The head of the FDLE in Florida says the operation cannot just stop after 2 weeks.
The MWIT, they have, I think, like 300 kids were rescued in Florida. I need to find that one too, and we'll take a look at that.
And this doesn't stop here today. This should continue on and on.
Well, this is Florida.
Last week, we showed you an intake facility set up at a Bay Care facility that offers the children that are taken from this operation, recovered from this operation, it gives them a chance to have food, clothing, medical, and psychological care if they want it. Everyone involved in this operation has told me that the recovery operation is just the start of a long road for these children. Stacey?
And Jeff, 60 children, that sounds like a very, very big number. Any idea how many more who are out there from the Bay Area who are considered at risk?
Well, we're told that those 60 children, that's a record number, the largest number recovered in an operation like this across the United States. And the people with this operation, the U.S. Marshal Service tells me that they believe that they recovered 90% of the children that they are after, but there are still more children that are out there. They're working to identify them and recover them as well. Stacey?
All right. Jeff Patterson reporting in Tampa. Thank you.
Okay. I wanted to show you guys that. So let me just stop this and we'll talk about that one later. So let me get to Alex Fine. Okay. I mean, Alex Hines. Oh God, Alex Fine is on my mind. Alex Hines. We may remember Alex. He's married to Caroline. And they were on Me, Myself, and My Ex, or Me, You, and My Ex. That's it. Me, You, and My Ex. So Alex was gay. I guess he's bisexual now, not sure, but he's married to Caroline. They have 2 beautiful kids, and I used to talk to Caroline all the time on IG. So Debbie's been doing laundry. Hold on. Let me tell her something. Hold on, guys, and I'm gonna pull this up. Hold on a second. So they were doing, Alex was a part of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, this last part where Marcus was talking to Angela about her husband, right? So this is Alex, okay? I asked him if I can use his video and everything else. And he says, yes, you can use my Storytime TikTok video for your YouTube video. I just wanted to make sure that I can use it before I did. So I always, in case you guys think I'm kidding, I always ask for permission, especially if it's someone else's material. Okay, so let me go back out and let me bring Alex up. I recorded it. And I asked him if he would like to come up. He had to work this morning, and he was working all weekend. So I was like, okay. So he asked, so I did this. So here is the first part of his story time.
Since people keep asking me what really happened, here is what happened from my point of view. This is not to vindicate anybody. This is not to indicate that anybody did anything in particular for any malicious reasons or gain. This is just what happened specifically from my point of view.
Thank you, Black Cat.
So, as you guys know, I was working at this restaurant and Marcus is my boss.
He was there.
I started working at the restaurant early May, and about 3 weeks into May, I get
how's my baby?
I get to work one day. It's a normal day, And there's all of a sudden all of this commotion from all the guys in the kitchen about the fact that there's some retired NBA legend that is dining there. I don't follow the NBA, don't really care about the NBA, and with this man being retired, that's clearly before my time. Don't know who he is. This man and this very attractive, much younger woman sit down, they sit on the same side of the booth, they, share off of each other's plates, they're very engaged in one another's company, they've shared out of the same drinking cup.
I'm going to be like Lisa, I'm going to dox everybody who ever sent me money. Debbie, if you want to come on panel, because I want to hear what you have to say about this. I got permission from Alex to use his story time. Even though he put it out, it's still his. It's his copyrighted material. So I got permission to use it. And I showed the permission before I started the video. But if you want to come up, let me know. Or just come up. Shit, you can get in here.
It was just giving date night energy. However, they eat, they pay, they leave, boom, that's it. That's it. Fast forward 4 months later, and Marcus asked me if I want to go to an event. He goes, hey, this is going to be this event. It's for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. It's going to be filmed. You've got an RSVP, so send me your email. I send my email, and boom, I get this. I get the response. I'm invited. You've been selected, whatever you want to call it. I'm there. So, again, we're now in August, and we are at this Williams-Sonoma event. I'm just here to get a little chicken and waffle, drink this mimosa, and watch the housewives kind of go back and forth. Of course, I was excited. I'm a fan of the show. Who doesn't love the Real Housewives? So, I was excited to go. So, I'm in the background. I'm eating my chicken and waffle. I'm watching them. It was kind of boring. I'm just, I'm there. I'm there enjoying the event.
I'm going to take this down for a minute.
As we're there, I'm not familiar with the newbies. So Marcus is like, oh, obviously this one's Kelly because it's her event. And then he brings out Angela and Charles. It's like that when at the end is Angela. And as he's sitting here telling me about her, he's trying to jog my memory about 4 months prior when we were in the restaurant and the NBA legend had came in. And it's like, I'm like, oh, okay. But again, since I don't follow basketball, it doesn't really dawn on me like, oh, that's the same guy. And then Marcus kind of pieces it together for me. So boom, I go to the bathroom. This is still at the event. I go use the restroom. And when I'm coming back from the restroom, as I walk back into Williams-Sonoma.
And the reason I'm showing it because he's putting up text messages to show what happened. Other than that, I would just play audio. And once the video loads on my channel, I will release that video without me talking at all, okay?
Williams-Sonoma, Marcus is up to Angela talking to her, which is what you guys see on the show when he is telling her your husband's been into the restaurant with a different woman. So, of course, I'm still standing in the background. He walks back over, and I'm like, what was that all about? And then he proceeds to tell me, the whole, oh, I just went and told her about her husband. And I'm like, I beg your pardon? He was like, yeah, I did, but I don't know if she really heard it or received it. So he was like, I need to make sure she knows what I'm talking about. And I'm like, Marcus, what? That's when this moment happens, where he makes the cheers.
So this is the part we did not see. There's Alex right there. There is Marcus, okay? He was there.
You can see I am visibly gagged, mouth open, shocked, and gagged like the rest of the guests because... I'm sorry, what?
All right,
did not know that was about to happen. I was completely caught off guard like everybody else, like just gagged. So after the whole stunt, Marcus is thrown out of the event. I continue to shop. I bought some of her products. I took a photo and I enjoyed the evening. It was over, so I thought.
There's some good stuff coming.
So now it's the next day after the event. And I am at the restaurant working, and Marcus is there as well. I'm standing in front of the restaurant, and I'm at the host stand. It's a slow day at the moment, and the phone rings. The hostess answers the phone. Thank you for calling. How can I help you? And she then looks over and she goes, hey, Marcus, There's a woman by the name of Drew Sidoro on the phone, and she would like to speak to you. So, of course, me and Marcus lock eyes from across the restaurant. Here I am, visibly gagged again, because why is Drew calling? What does Drew want? What's about to happen now?
Oh my God.
So,
wait a minute, guys. Oh. Guys, keep Jody in your prayers. Please keep Jody in your prayers. Oh my God. Keep Jody B in your prayers, please.
So Marcus gets on the phone with Drew, and basically Drew is just like, how are you going to come to my event? How are you going to come to this event and drop all that piping hot tea without getting my number afterwards so I can get the behind the scenes details? So Marcus and Drew exchange numbers. They have a whole back and forth for a couple of days. Or maybe for a day or so, but essentially, Drew just invites Marcus to go and have coffee with her. So after Marcus gets the invite to go have coffee with Drew, he was like, well, you have to come with me because I need you to be my receipt. I need you to tell people what you saw since you were there that day as well. So now at this point, we have also had a producer reach out in an attempt to get security camera footage from the restaurant of our good old friend Charles and the woman that he was with. So at this point, I'm starting to feel bad because it's like, I didn't come to this person's event to do any of this. So I go and I look up Angela Oakley and I DM her after the event to try to kind of warn her on what I feel like is production trying to set up Angela.
You should know he was on a TV show, so he's thinking production is trying to set her up. That's not the case.
At her marriage. As you can see here, I felt bad. I didn't even want to be in any of this. So I reached out to be like, hey, this is what I think is happening. In the exchange of our back and forth, it pretty much ended with, I feel like, her thinking that I was trying to just get a moment. And I'm like, girl, no, I'm not trying to get a moment. I'm trying to help you. I've already got my own moment elsewhere. This is not for me. This is for you. I'm just trying to warn you because I think they're trying to set you up in your moment. However, the day comes, I go to the coffee shop to sit down, and lo and behold, Angela is there. And the first thing I say, and of course you guys don't see the scene, but the first thing I say is, actually, I'm glad Angela is here because I thought Drew was being messy trying to get to your marriage. And I said, and first of all, I'm not even here to say that your man is cheating. However, this is just simply what happened the day that he was in the restaurant. And I shared the same details with her. The optics of the situation just didn't look good if he is indeed married to, somebody else. That's all there was to it. I was not being messy. I won't try to be messy. Again, I'm not trying to be on TV.
So let's go to part 2. Okay, let's go to part 2.
So boom, here we are back with part 2. As I expressed, we're sitting in the restaurant. It's me, Drew, Angela, and Marcus. And I had just expressed to Angela what I saw at the restaurant. If you missed any of that, go back and watch part 1.
And just so you know, in case you didn't see the finale, after the finale, Phaedra was on Watch What's Happening Live with Andy. And she had a lot to say. So you guys need to go see that.
As I was expressing to her, hey, this is what happened, she then kind of takes control of the conversation and gets a little bit more aggressive. And understandably so, because I, as a married person, you're not going to step to me about my partner, and I don't know you, and you're trying to tell me something about my partner. And that is why because that's how I would feel about it, that's why I reached out to Angela the night before via DM.
There you go. August 12th.
You can see part 1 for that. So I sent Angela the DM, just letting her know, kind of like, hey, I think they're coming at you, because I thought production was coming at Angela. So she's basically like, look, I looked up both of you, and unless y'all start talking right now and y'all tell me who sent y'all, I'm gonna start talking about what I know on both of y'all.
She was
So I'm
blackmailing
like,
them.
girl, what is you talking about? There ain't nothing out there on me. If there was anything out there on me, I think people would already know it. So she kind of turns her attention more so to
So
Marcus.
she's blackmailing Marcus because Marcus has a criminal record. And she was using that against Marcus, telling him that you don't want people to know your background.
And
yes,
that's when she just again doubles down on this. I know somebody sent you. I know somebody sent you. And I know both of you have a connection to Athens, Georgia. And I'm like, I mean, I really don't. I mean, my mother-in-law lives there, but I don't really have a connection to Athens, Georgia. So then Marcus was like, okay. And and I will tell you, he didn't want to say a name. Marcus was not trying to say a name. Marcus was visibly, I feel like, as uncomfortable as I was. So then this is what you see on the show where Angela's like, well, here, you can write it in, just here's my phone, write the name down in my phone. And he proceeds to type out a name, hands the phone to Angela. Angela reads it, hands it to Drew. Drew reads it. Nobody hands the phone to me. So I'm in the dark on who sent us, because as I told you, I was just invited by my boss / friend Marcus to be like, hey, come to this Housewives filming event with me. I came with no agenda. I had no clue that anything was going to happen, let alone all of this was going to happen. So, they're shocked. They thank him for his services. And then the tone of the conversation changes dramatically. Nobody ever says a name. However, the tone of the conversation changes dramatically, and it goes from Angela being mean to Angela being very nice. And then Angela and Marcus are just having this whole kind of kiki back and forth, almost as if they've known each other for a while. So much so to the point where a producer steps in and was like, okay, wait a minute. Stop. What just happened here? Because it was just kind of weird. Like, what just happened here? So all of a sudden, Angela's like, now you have to get me dirt that shows that she sent you guys. And I was like, still confused because I don't know who she is and nobody's ever used her name. But it, turns out to be Phaedra is what they're saying. So I'm like, they're like, you have to figure out, you have to come up with a way to prove that Phaedra sent you here. So I'm like, wait, what? What is going on? How did this happen? I'm confused. And
now, when he said that, and I was listening, I'm sitting there going, first of all, Phaedra is an attorney. Forget about her being a mortician. Okay, she's an attorney. She's not going to put anything in writing. She's not going to put herself in the middle of shit that she can be sued for. This was a setup. Even when Debbie and I discussed this, I was like, I don't believe Phaedra did that. I know she told Portia about the dungeon and with Candy and her husband, but this bullshit here, I couldn't see her doing it. And I stood by that. And I don't think she did it. And this is telling me she didn't.
Confused, and it's just like I just keep getting thrust into these like situations, and it's like I really felt like the like B character on like a show, and the main character just keeps thrusting us into these wild scenarios, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, I'm gobsmacked. Literally, I'm gagged every step of the way, you guys. So we get up, we leave from the table after agreeing to get proof to show that Phaedra allegedly set all this up. And we're off camera, but we're in the coffee shop, and I asked Marcus, I'm like, Marcus, and this is a hot mic moment. So Phaedra, you need to ask production for this. I say, why did you sit there and lie to that woman? We don't know Phaedra. Like, what are you talking about? How did we get here? Like, there's a whole moment, and he's like, shh, we're still mic'd. So boom, that's that. Forward, a couple hours later, we are out of the scene, we're out of the, restaurant, and it's like still sitting with me. And I'm like, this is just not sitting well with me. So then I start texting Marcus. So this is the conversation between me and Marcus. And if you start here, I ask him, Marcus, why did you switch up? Her husband was in the restaurant. And then he goes, she definitely wanted to be Phaedra, so I didn't know what else to say. Well, after that meeting, I'm convinced Angela knows about Charles. He already had a terrible image from being banned at Madison Square Gardens and the MGM. She knows what she's dealing with, and I felt like she wanted to pin it on Phaedra, and that's...
So this is my part. When he said that he didn't know anything about basketball or the NBA or whatever, I'm thinking he went and looked up who Charles Barkley was in order for him to have this information, knowing he was banned from Madison Square Garden and the MGM. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
That's not right. So as you see, this is August 13th at 2:31 p.m. So then, once I realized that Marcus was actually going so far as to scheme along with Angela and actually say that Phaedra did this, I then, same day, again, August 13th at 11 p.m., I DM Phaedra Parks. Oh, can you not see that it's her account? Well, this is you can see the better screenshots on Twitter, everywhere I posted them. But anyways, this is my DM to Phaedra, where I specifically tell Phaedra, hey, I was at Kelly's event when the cheating rumor about Angela's husband was outed by my friend. A lot has happened since then, and I think they're trying to make it out to be you put us up to it. I'd love to have a conversation off camera about what happened today. So again,
off camera.
So as you see in the screenshot, Phaedra never reaches back out to me.
Wait, hold on a second.
Hold on. Okay, there you go. Yes, ma'am.
Did he just say put us up to it?
Yes.
But I thought this was all Marcus.
But hold on a second. He was at the restaurant, so I think that's what he means by putting us up to it. Because he was supposed to meet with Marcus and Drew Sidora, but Angela showed up as well. I'll rewind it. Hold on. Let's go back right here. Okay.
Oh, can you not see that it's her account? Well, this is you can see the better screenshots on Twitter, everywhere I posted them. But anyways, this is my DM to Phaedra, where I specifically tell Phaedra, hey, I was at Kelly's event when the cheating rumor about Angela's husband was outed by my friend. A lot has happened since then, and I think they're trying to make it out to be you put us up to it.
He said you put us up to it. Yes.
And it was in reference to them being at Kelly's event.
Yes. Exactly.
Interesting.
So Marcus took Alex with him to this event.
I get that, but he's now including himself.
Yes.
Because if it was me, I would have said, put my friend up to it.
I see what you're saying. I get it. But Debbie,
especially when dealing with a lawyer who still has an active bar license.
Yes. Girl, this gets better. Hold on.
Conversation off camera about what happened today. So again, off camera. So as you see in the screenshot, Phaedra never reaches back out to me. So then I actually get in touch with a old RHOA producer who I talk to. I share all of this with. I'm like, hey, can you get me in touch with Phaedra? And I mean, his name was Luke. He was apparently like her old producer on the show a couple seasons ago. So I reached out to him. So again, I mean, I'm really trying to like warn Phaedra, hey, I think they're trying to set you up, because again, I don't want to be a part of them like lying on somebody, trying to take somebody down or anything like that, because that's not cool. I didn't think it was cool when I thought they were trying to do this to Angela's marriage, the reason why I DM'd her, and I didn't think that it was right when they were trying to do this to Phaedra, the reason why I DM'd her. So now I'm just at this weird like impasse trying to figure out, how can I get in touch with Phaedra Parks?
Okay, so hold on. Let me get to the other part, because he's just going back and forth like he was trying to get a hold of Phaedra.
Okay, guys, so here we go for part 3. So at this point, all of the craziness has happened. We have sat down with Angela and Drew, trying to get more clarity. That turned into Angela just stating we have to pretty much say that this was Phaedra. We leave the restaurant. Marcus is still, fine with doubling down, saying this is Phaedra. I'm not. I reach out to Phaedra with everything that I can think of. Like, I DM'd her. Y'all can go and look at really, really, really old comments. I was commenting under all of Phaedra's old comments, like, please check your DMs. Please check your DMs. Because I would have really felt bad had I not done everything that I could have done. And this played out like season 9, and Phaedra got fired for something that she did not do. So, it's been about a night or two since the coffee shop. We are leaving the restaurant, Marcus, myself, and a couple of other people, and we're in my car. As we are driving to go get a drink or somewhere, I don't know, we're just like going to get a drink after.
We a lot. He says we a lot because we are not driving. He's driving.
Or something. He keeps getting these text messages. Excuse me, not text messages. He keeps getting these phone calls from a private number. Then he starts getting text messages while we're in the car. He does not answer any of the phone calls. And then this is the phone call. The text message, can you call Phaedra? Marcus responds and asks, who is this? Then this weird message comes up because Angela was using some sort of burner phone or something. So then we got this really weird message. And then she's like, I want to protect you, which you have already heard her say in those released audio clips, which we gonna jump into later.
Great to see you.
And then again, thank you, but who is this? Can you talk? I can in about 30 minutes, had a family emergency I'm finishing up with. Is this Angela? Can you talk? I'm still with my family trying to finish up. I'm sorry, I'm just weary about who is texting me. This is Angela. Okay, I will let you know as soon as I'm home. So we wait about 10-15 minutes and then he calls Angela. You guys have heard the audio.
But all of the audio that they released, this was a 15-minute conversation. Angela picked and chose what she wanted to release.
Recording is a full 15-minute conversation between the two of them trying to scheme and figure out receipts to set up Phaedra. So you guys have heard some of what Marcus has posted, which is kind of a really grainy bad audio. That's because I've recorded that. When the situation was happening, we were in my car, and when they started really talking about scheming on Phaedra, I was like, I have to record this. So I'm trying to drive and secretly record this conversation that Marcus is having on his phone on speaker, so that way I could have a receipt. However, Angela clearly recorded the call too, because you guys have heard it from her point of view, which is way clearer. However, you've noticed neither have released the full 15-minute video, which would show both of them equally taking parts in scheming on Phaedra. Now, I'm going to double down on this because Angela absolutely held the charges that have come out about Marcus over his head. Angela absolutely was like, I will make sure that this gets out and everybody sees this if you don't help me. And you don't want that. None of you knew Marcus's full name to be able to go and look up and pull those charges. They didn't even say Marcus's full name. Marcus isn't even that big on social media for you guys to be able to find him. So all of his past and charges only came out because it was specifically leaked by Angela. So boom. I'm secretly recording their conversation. She's like, hey, I don't want to say, he's like, hey, I don't want to, no, excuse me. Marcus says, I don't want to say fake something, but we've got to come up with something. And she's like, yes, I agree. We need to come up with something to legitimize what we're going to say about Phaedra. So I take those clips and I'm like, I've got to find Phaedra still. So the next morning, as I'm getting ready for my other job, my day job, it dawns on me, my day job, I manage a luxury high-rise. I wouldn't call it luxury, actually. But one of my residents I've known for years because I leased an apartment to her mother a decade ago, and her mother is a popular blogger. So I reached out to her. I'm like, hey, you wouldn't happen to know Phaedra? She was like, yeah, let me see what I can do.
Her name is Tammy. It's the blogger he was talking about. Debbie, who's Tammy? Debbie? I know you're there. Oh, she's on mute. She's doing laundry.
I tell the blogger the whole like quick skinny of it. She's like, let me see what I can do. Okay, cool. Boom. It's about an hour later, I'm in my car, I'm driving to work. My friend is calling me back, the one I reached out to, and I'm like, hey Tammy, what's up? And she was like, hey, I got in touch with Phaedra, she's on the line. So then all of a sudden, I hear the most beautiful, angelic voice of a Southern belle. Hello? How you doing? And I was just like...
Exactly, Wendy.
Well, I'm stressed, but better now that I've gotten in touch with you. So I am probably sounding like a crazy person to Phaedra, like, bitch, I know you don't know me. I am a fan, but like, I'm not like a crazy fan, like, ah! But like, all of this is happening, and I think they're trying to set you up again. So I'm literally on the phone with Phaedra for like an hour trying to make any of this make sense to her. So she's like, well, just send me an email of what you have. Boom. So I'm going to show this really up close like this because I'm not trying to put out any of her information. But as you can see, the message is like, hey, Phaedra, I'm not tech savvy, blah, blah, blah. But this was me emailing Phaedra. This is, as you see, on August 15th at this point. And at this point, Phaedra, I have talked to her on the phone, and now she has responded. So I sent her the above email, and now she's like, thanks for sending. I'm driving, but we'll look ASAP. Woo! I finally got in touch with Phaedra, and like, I'm literally sitting in my car crying because I'm like, whew, let me vindicate this woman because I cannot have this single mama out here losing no job. Boom. So I send the stuff over to Phaedra. Me and Phaedra probably had two additional phone calls after that, kind of just like talking through everything. And then that next day, Friday, I was off of work from my day job, and it's like Friday morning, and Marcus is like, oh my gosh, have you seen the info and everything about this black tie gala that Angela and Charles are having? He was like, I think they're going to confront Phaedra tonight, this, that, and the third. And me and him are just kind of having a back and forth about it. By midday, he gets this text from Drew Sidora stating that Angela would like me to invite you to this tonight. Hope you can make it out. And of course, you see where he's like, I'll be there. Hopefully you guys have my back, which you saw they did because they were a part of all of this.
That's sad.
Meantime, in between time, after Phaedra had received the receipts, and I think she had pieced together that this was happening, Phaedra then has our mutual friend reach back out to me, and she was like, I want to buy you a ticket and invite you to the gala so you can speak your truth. Boom! That's how I end up at the gala. So it's the finale night. We are dressed to the nines. I'm there. So you see, I'm on the red carpet. I've got my Getty images. It's because, again, I was an invited guest who had a ticket, and I was asked to be a part of the red carpet because I was recognized from my other television show endeavors that I had. Because, again, I was not trying to be in the midst of all of this craziness. And it's wild because it's like,
what do we think? Is he not trying to be in the midst of all of this? It gets better. You're
in it now. So it's the night of the gala, Friday, August 16th. And Marcus has been invited by Drew. I have been, and Angela. I have been invited by Phaedra Parks. And now we're ready to see the sparks fly.
Okay, so let's get to the sparks flying.
Okay, so here we go with part 4. And I'm going to try to wrap all of this up in part 4. However, I want to start off by giving a special thank you to the Geo, who has been super critical of me this last week, saying that I'm a liar and calling me out on all of these things. But I appreciate this post that he posted tonight.
Shared that got everyone so wet and wild was this partial screenshot of his DMs with Angela. But oddly enough, Alex, you didn't want to share the full thread for whatever reason, but
my phone number was in it.
So Alex then goes on to message Angela after, saying, did you send the guy in the white Mercedes SUV to my job to intimidate my boss? And you can pause to read the purple bubble is Angela. Alex says, my boss said that the guy said he was hired by you and Charles to say that Charles was in the restaurant both times with his daughters. Angela responds, what? That doesn't even make sense. Then Alex says, so is it a lie? You see, Angela says, y'all at least need to get the lie together. Please, this is crazy. Alex says, that's the thing. It's not a lie. And I'm not accusing you of anything. What I know is someone was hired to come to the...
So boom, Angela.
He said,
I
stay
asked
tuned.
you flat out, did you send the guy in the Mercedes to my job to intimidate my boss? You said, excuse me, who, what, where? I don't know what you're talking about. But then on the episode, you said you got some people who don't play about you. I believe that was your words. I quote, I got some people who don't play about me.
There she goes. Damn.
So you sent some people to see about us.
They said Angela's as fake as those plastic wigs on her head. Damn.
So you knew exactly what I was talking about when I flat out asked you, did you send this guy to our restaurant to threaten us and rough us up to get us to change the story and say that Charles was in the restaurant with his daughters? But anyways, back to part 4. So as I was saying, at this point, Phaedra has invited me, Angela has invited Marcus through Drew, and it's the Friday of the gala, and we are all there. So boom, we're at the gala, and it is a long night for me because I get there at 6. And then the actual event and ceremony and them honoring people lasted for what felt like an eternity, but I think it was probably about 2.5 hours, 3 hours. It just went on for a while. They thanked and honored about 15 to 27 people that y'all didn't see outside of Portia and the Meals on Wheels lady. So at some point before it ends, I step out, go outside, and then an altercation ensues between me and Charles Oakley, and he has me thrown out by security.
Debbie.
Security is escorting me out. As I'm being escorted out, someone from production, for the first time in my experience in this whole thing, acknowledges me and stops, and it's pretty much like, hey, he's a part of the storyline. We'll handle this. That guy from production walks away. Security walks away. I'm standing down there, just pretty much told to wait. So I'm sitting down there for about 25, 30 minutes. I'm over it at this point. It's probably going on about 10:30, and I'm like, all right, I'm going back upstairs to be like, look, I got to get out of here. So as I get up to the top of the stairs and I'm rounding the corner, none other than the Angela Oakley is rounding the other corner of the ballroom, and we are now walking towards each other. So she points all the way across, you, get over here. And gladly. So as I walk over to her and follow her over, it is this scene that you guys didn't see in the episode where all of the women are sitting down on the sofa in the ballroom, where Angela was there standing, Drew was there standing, Marcus was there telling whatever he was telling. And she was like, tell them right now that Phaedra sent y'all. And I go, no, Phaedra didn't. I said, you two, and did this finger motion pointing to her and Drew, and was basically like, the two of you told me to say it was Phaedra. Drew then, of course, chimes in, I don't know you. I've never met you a day in my life. You know, she calls it acting.
There's Drew.
Whatever. But Angela at that point then kind of starts to like spiral, and she gets upset.
He says she never met him a day in her life, and he shows them sitting at the coffee shop.
And she is just getting angry, and then at this point she's like threatening and just getting real nasty. I mean, she's just getting real nasty at this point. And she's like, why would I do this? And I was like, I don't know, you wouldn't have a moment with Phaedra. I don't know. So then I also want to mention, in this moment of her spiraling and being angry, this was then the only other time production steps in. And this is kind of what causes me to just be like, let me get out of here. In the heat of Angela being upset and angry and going off, she goes to start threatening people, threatening to have me fucked up, again referring to those people she got that don't play about her, threatening Marcus. Then she makes some really disgusting comments about my marriage being fake, and then she calls me a fucking faggot. And And that's when the production was like, Angela, you gotta chill out. They stopped cameras. They're like, hey, you can't talk like this. And in the midst of all of this craziness, commotion, I'm like, I gotta get out. But again, I don't want to get in my feelings on that because I spiraled out about that on the internet last year in real time.
Well, this happened August last year.
You guys can go and find all of that because it's still out there because the internet never dies. So that's it. There you have it. That was the end of the gala because at that point I'm gone.
But wait,
Crashing
there's
on the
one
internet.
more.
It's over. But I do want to say, I want to give it up to Angela because Angela came on this season. Angela killed the season and she held her head high and wore that crown of, the best newbie with such grace and elegance and just came off as just so honest and transparent.
Let's get to the last part.
Part 5. And I know, just like all of you thought that we were done after part 4, so did I. So something crazy, and yes, crazier than what already happens in part 1 through 4 had to happen for me to now make a part 5. But before we get into that, I want to talk about something. I want to talk about this post on this page, from this page, Shady in the ATL. And this page is Angela. She thanked this page after the season finale. This page always has me in her private DMs first. It's her page. It's her fan page.
He showed the DMs already.
I'm going to talk about this post specifically right here. If he's a straight man with a family, why is he pressing this so hard anyways?
First of all, what does that have to do with him being, if he's a straight man and pressing anything? The man was telling the truth. He didn't want Phaedra to lose her job behind bullshit that she did not do.
Well, he was telling his version of the truth.
Yeah, his version. But Debbie, come on. Phaedra has done some shit. I said it when you and I discussed it. I don't think Phaedra had anything to do with that. She had just met Angela. Why would she have a beef with Angela?
Well, here's the thing, though. I believe production has more to do with this than meets the eye.
Okay.
This feels like what happened to Phaedra the first time. Phaedra, season 9 it was.
Season 9.
She was neck deep in that foolishness at the hands of production. And I feel Dumb and Dumber, Angela and Drew, are the same way with this. And I don't understand why Marcus took it. It's still like, I don't understand why he decided at that function to go up and say this to Angela. I just really don't.
That didn't make any sense. Why was he there to begin with? And why did he walk up to her with the cameras rolling? And how didn't Charles Barkley see this happening or hear it when he was right there?
You mean Charles Oakley?
Yeah,
and
Charles
it seems
Oakley.
like he
Yeah,
didn't hear it. And with regards to the invitation, I'm wondering if production has something to do with the invitation, because the entire season has been a subplot of Charles and his infidelity.
That's true.
Because Britt brought it up. Portia brought it up. I don't know who else brought it up, but several people talked about it. It's been a subplot, but it's never like
Portia talked about it. Look, Portia talked about it.
Yeah, Portia. The only people I can remember right now off the top of my head is Portia and Britt who brought it up.
Okay.
Right? But it never caught on because people started liking Angela. And so I think they were still trying to get it caught, because I find on Real Housewives of Atlanta, that production team does not like to see a happy marriage. They don't. And they also do a really poor job of recruiting new housewives. They relish in divorces. Yep. And they actively play a role in disintegrating marriages so that they can catch it on camera.
I agree with that.
Remember, that's the whole animosity with Kenya. They were mad at her because they didn't get her wedding, And they were really mad at her because they couldn't do anything with her divorce.
Yep, I believe that. Oh, let's finish with this because this is the last part.
And then I want to pop up here to this. With Bravo having such a strong LGBTQ following and family and some of her family members, it would be extremely stupid to say this and have no immediate repercussions. To implore you to think about the fact that each one of those initials are attached to a person with a story. And if you understood that story, you wouldn't go to weaponize that in your first line of attack against them.
Did the cast producer hear her
Michelle
call you the F
Atling.
word?
Absolutely. It was on camera.
Everybody heard Tangled.
heard
In fact, some of the other bloggers who were there actually reported about it. Bingeworthy reported on it. I think House of Aaron reported on it as well. But I didn't know the context until now. So yeah, and they cut it out. So basically, producers protected her because again, the general public doesn't know she said the F word.
And then popular blogger Bingeworthy, previously mentioned in Michelle's video, had this to say himself on his platform after the event because he too was there.
Thank God it was edited to be a little bit unserious and it wasn't as explosive as I thought it.
And then this page is reporting this from Britt Eady, and I can't confirm this, but this was, like I said, filmed in front of all of the girls.
So Britt Eady is saying, yes, she did call him the F word and threaten his life. That's what Britt is saying. Now we know Britt didn't go to the reunion. She's suing Bravo, and Andy has fired her.
So if she did, thank you, Britt Eady. And so to wrap all of this up, I just want to say, person that has that kind of hate, it impacts their children. Because look at some of the hateful tweets.
Now Angela's daughter
Angela's
got in the
daughter
mix
had
of this.
These things to say.
This is Angela's daughter.
So clearly this is her learned tool to, when she goes to insult people, she says something like this. So then lastly, this tweet. I'm Angela's daughter, and she never called him that. He made that up, and clearly he was edited out for a reason. So y'all just saw all those other receipts from those people's pages. And still, she sent her own daughter to my page to say this. It's astonishing at the lengths that this woman will go to change the narrative. But that's not what we're here for. We've got bigger fish to fry.
Angela's daughter who got married to a woman who didn't tell her mother, that daughter is the one that was there posting all of this shit on Alex's page.
And some would even say legal fish to fry, Angela. So jumping into part 5. As you guys know, parts 1 through 4 have been uploaded for X amount of hours or days now, right? And this is the first I have felt, heard, or seen in all of this over the last year. So imagine my surprise when popular blogger, AT-alien Michelle Brown, was doing a live talking about the video series. Through that, I was able to connect with her, and we were able to go out and have lunch the other day. Now, at lunch, I was expecting to just go and share with her pretty much in detail everything that had been going on.
She's on the shots.
Okay.
But imagine my surprise when I get there and she actually had something.
Listen to the receipt she had.
And this is the craziest receipt yet, y'all, because this receipt is coming directly from Angela.
Then she sends me another video, which was a screenshot from her phone of security texting her saying that they went and talked to y'all or Marcus or whoever, and they were telling her, don't worry, it'll never happen again.
So remember, she didn't know what he was talking about the person in the white Mercedes coming to the restaurant to threaten Marcus.
Mm.
So I'm like, Angela, is you extorting people and
So yes, you heard that correctly. Angela Oakley sent a screen recording of her and her message to her goons, the people who don't play about her security, whichever one of these menacing labels she wants to give them, her conversations between her and that person to Michelle, which Michelle shared on her live, and I'll link below. But now I'm going to blow it up so you guys can see them yourself. Okay, so you're probably going to have to pause, but here you see Angela sends his name, a photos of
She
Marcus,
knew his name.
and then her security says he's not at work today. I drove by there twice, and I'll be going by there again tonight. Then he sends a picture of Marcus and says, I just finished talking to him. You don't have to worry, that won't happen again. That sounds threatening and intimidating to me. But after I left being a part of Michelle's live and continued to watch it, Michelle then said something else interesting afterwards, which was this.
I think the problem arose when she sent security to the restaurant to confront them. Like, when you going that far to send somebody to somebody's place of business to ask about, what you know about my husband, and you better not say nothing else, and all of that, or else, you know what I'm saying? Like, it gets into real sticky territory now. I mean, I know she, was talking about.
So Debbie, what do you think about that?
I don't know how neither one of the two of these gentlemen are still employed. I feel production is the root of all of this.
It's Marcus's restaurant.
Yeah, but then why, if it's Marcus's restaurant, why did he fire Alex?
Because Alex didn't go along with what he had to say.
Well, why is Marcus? You know what? I'm trying to think back to when he was on youme&myex, and if Marcus ever came around that baby, because he not allowed to. Does anybody remember? Because I remember the ex-boyfriend.
And then
would come around and babysit or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think Marcus ever. Yeah, I don't think
Marcus got into the fight with him. If you can call it a fight.
Yeah,
that's the one that fought with the fist fight, not the fist fight, the windmilling action.
Yes,
on that show. I don't know. Something's just not adding up.
Alex is going to, he has spoken to an attorney about the defamation and slander, and they gave him exactly what, and he shows it at the end. And yes, and why would you do that to Phaedra, knowing this woman is an attorney? They cut out a lot of parts. I watched that season finale. They cut out a lot of parts on that season finale. It just wasn't gelling for me.
Well, quite honestly, Marcus was never nothing to be trusted in the first place. And I don't understand why Alex inserted himself into this at all.
So you think that Alex inserted himself? I think he was trying to warn. First, he tried to warn Angela that production was trying to set her up. That's where he started at, because he didn't like what was being said. So he reached out to Angela to give her a heads up that production was trying to set her up. Only to come to find out, Drew and Angela were going to set up Phaedra.
To me, after I checked my friend for his messiness, I would have extricated myself. I really would have.
Then you would have just let it play out.
To a Williams-Sonoma event, and it's supposed to be a cooking demonstration, and we going and we watching the cooking demonstration, and you walk off, and you go and tell this woman about what you saw at the restaurant where her husband, right? And this is supposed to be your restaurant that you want to keep open? Because if I was an Atlanta resident, I would never be going to his restaurant. Because nothing, like, if I'm going to dine at your restaurant, I'm just going to dine. I don't need you to be reporting to all of Atlanta who the hell I was up in there with.
But it wasn't his daughter. It wasn't his daughter, because according
That's
to
not the
Angela.
point.
Okay.
Because I have no shits to give about what Charles is doing and with who and where.
Hi, Aesop's.
And
I get it.
And if I'm going to a restaurant, Williams Sonoma event with Marcus, I'm like, grateful. Thanks for inviting me. Great. Yay. Okay, we going. And you slide off and you and go and do messy shit like that and it's being filmed. I would wait till we are in private and I would have been like, what the fuck are you doing? I didn't appreciate that. Don't get me involved in this.
Well, he
But then
basically said
Alex
that.
decides to insert himself in
Yeah.
it. And that is just messy for me. Because basically we would have never known that Alex was there.
I see that. I see that.
And why does Alex think that he needs to save a hoe?
You calling Phaedra a hoe?
I'm calling all of them a hoe. They're a hoe for Bravo. They're getting a paycheck, and all you getting is TikTok checks.
Yep, I see your point on that. But
I feel that Marcus was very irresponsible if he's the restaurant owner, because basically nobody's coming to his restaurant anymore. If they were ever coming in the first place, because if Charles is taking around his little side pieces, he's probably gonna go to the restaurant with
nobody's at. That's what I was thinking, because he wouldn't go into a popular restaurant with somebody.
Right. So
that's not his,
Marcus did this to get more people in his restaurant,
and it backfired.
Exactly. And then Alex inserted himself with the us and the we of it all. And is that so that he could get back on TLC or maybe upgrade to Bravo? Because
he's still contracted to TLC.
Right. However, again, this is where I blame production, because production has a very bad habit on rhoa of using gay people.
Yes, they do.
To stir the pot and cause a lot of messiness. And that's why I feel production is the root of this issue.
Damn. I see your point, but then I see Alex's point too, while trying to warn Angela, and only
he is not a saint.
Yep.
He is not a saint.
No, he's not a saint. I didn't say that. I said I see his
think
point.
He's out here trying to save a hoe. I really don't. Just as much as it was self-serving for Marcus, it is self-serving for him.
Okay. I feel you. I feel you.
And the same way that they took down Phaedra, production took down Phaedra in season 9.
Yep.
I think it was just easy to plant in Dumb and Dumber's head. Just go and blame her. She said you was old.
Yep. And Phaedra's, what Andy said on Watch What's Happening Live, that Phaedra was benched. That's what he said. She was benched after season 9. And those were Andy's words. So I guess they go around benching people like they're playing basketball or football or something, putting them on the sidelines. But still, I do see it. He was trying to warn them, but then it got messy. It got deep. I understand that. I see your point. I see your point.
Because as soon as he asked Marcus, why did you flip your story? And he responded back, well, that's what they wanted me to say. I'd have been like, wait up. My name is Bennett and I'm not in it.
Yep, I would have walked away. And you're right. I would have walked away.
Mm-hmm.
I would have kept my mouth closed. And then if it came to it and somehow or another, my name came up, well, yes, then I'm going to say what happened. You're absolutely right. Because that's what I do now. I walk away. I want no parts of some shit. You know what I mean? And then, yep. You're right. You're right on that. But I just felt that Phaedra got vindication, and Andy even asked her, Did you? She goes, I had only been back for 2 weeks. I don't even know this woman. She goes, I know, she goes, I sort of know Charles. He's around, but why would
Right.
I do that?
Phaedra was the last person to bring up his adulterous leanings.
Yep. Yep.
In
Because
her
she
own
told them to
introduction,
tell
she
them
was
what
talking
happened on the way.
about that woman and her husband. And they need to stop coming from marriages on this show.
They all need to stop coming for marriages on all of these shows. All of these shows. There's been so many divorces for all of this bullshit. But again, oh, and Ariana was on there too. Ariana was on with Phaedra.
Oh, Kim started?
Yep, she was on. And Andy had asked her, you know, how did your mom feel about you airing out? She goes, she told her parents and her sibling, I guess the older one, that she wasn't going to lie about anything. Yeah, Debbie sees all the red flags. To me, I thought, you know, and after hearing what you have to say, yep, I would have stepped away from it. But unless my name would have been thrown into it and said, well, yeah, your friend was there, you know, your friend Alex, yeah, I can see then going, wait a minute, hold up. That's not what happened. But the fact that I think they're saving it all for the reunion when Phaedra's going to have her receipt, because you know Phaedra's coming with receipts, okay? I think they're saving it all for the reunion because what he described happened is not what we saw on the season finale. It was put together and it felt like a lot of stuff was missing. The fact that Charles Oakley threw him out of the event and then production said, wait a minute, hold up, he's part of the storyline. So production had their hands in that. I agree.
But here's another thing too. If we look at the season as a whole, it's been cut short.
Yep, it has.
They had the hiccup at the beginning, which I feel was production driven.
Okay.
With regards to Kenya and Britt. So they kept on filming. Their main villain has been, what you said, he said benched.
Phaedra.
And removed from filming. Britt Edie, they didn't give her a good edit at the
Not at
beginning
all.
or the middle. They kind of redeemed her at the end. It was just messy. I think they need to replace the production company for
I think
rhoa.
the production company needs to be replaced. I think the cast needs to be replaced. And Drew Sidora brings nothing. But I want to ask a question though. If Britt Edie is now saying those pictures were not her, why is she suing Bravo?
She's a dummy. She really is a dummy.
She's saying they're not her. Why are you suing?
I don't understand how you went through a whole season of filming and then didn't ask a question. Like after, like I know she left before the pictures came out. We're going back to the event. She after the she gave the flowers to Kenya. Kenya said throw them away or whatever. She just said, okay, I'm done. I've tried. And she walked out. So then the pictures came up, and that's when you see Kelly coming out.
So it had to be her because Kelly saw the pictures. Portia saw the pictures.
Right. So if Kelly was telling her all of this in the car when they were leaving and we didn't see, and you went through this depression, I'll give you the whatever day or whatever. After you came out of it, the shock has worn off. I would have asked to see the pictures. I would have asked to see the raw footage. And I would have demanded to see what was said about me.
Yep, exactly.
But it doesn't look like she did that based on what she's saying, because it wasn't until she gets to, well, I guess days within going to the reunion, because wasn't it Phaedra who said she had her outfit chosen and they were supposed to share glam or something like that? It's one of them who said it, confirmed that she had picked out a dress and everything. You get that far then to decide, oh, I'm going to sue. And this is why I said she's dumb, and so is her attorney, because you really can't sue them because of your contract that you signed.
Yep, you signed
And
it.
as a newbie, you really ain't making that kind of money, which leads me to believe that the money was an issue. And that's why everything was always so half-assed with her. And then on top of that, of course, Andy has to fire her, because if you're suing your employer, the first thing your employer is going to do is fire you.
But couldn't that be considered as retaliation?
No, because once you enter into litigation with your attorney, they have to sever.
That's true. Oh, yeah, that's true, Debbie. That's true.
They have to sever
That's
to
true,
protect themselves.
Yeah, but I wanted that, because I'm waiting for the reunion now, because Phaedra is coming with it. We've seen most of it, and the recording. Alex had it on his IG the whole 15 minutes, and not Alex. Caroline posted it, and I think his wife. I think they had her to pull it because they're going to be using that at the reunion.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing as well. Production had nothing for this season. It was lackluster. It was shortened. You lost employees at the beginning of the season. This was a Hail Mary by production to cause strife to go into the reunion. But they weren't banking on one of their employees to file a lawsuit.
Okay, so now that I'm production, you're production. Now that you know that Angela has gone through these lengths to lie, defame, slander, because not only did she write it, she said it, defame and slander. What do you do with Angela?
You bring her back next season, because she's pliable and she does what production says. And you start covering the tracks
like that.
You start covering the tracks.
Okay.
And if they were smart, you would get Phaedra out of it and make Drew the fall guy, because y'all was going to fire her anyway, and get rid of Drew and keep Angela.
Okay. I can see that. But okay. So we have one more thing. We had a mass shooting in Indianapolis. Okay. What is wrong with this girl? It's like, let's just start shooting up people. Let's just start killing people. We don't care. And Debbie, I don't know if you saw the bill that Trump passed. I'm sure you have, but we can talk about that tomorrow.
I ignored that.
Charles isn't coming back. Wait a minute. Gwen said Charles isn't coming back.
I don't blame him. And he said his piece up there that I bet you anything, the trailer for the tell-all for the reunion, and can you imagine a Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion is only 2 episodes?
No,
when
I
he
can't.
When he cleared the house and he said, "Why y'all coming after me? I'm the only husband up here. Where all y'all husbands at?" No truer word was spoken. He's not gonna come back. He tried this shit, tried to make everybody think that he's into cooking and all of that, and this is what they did to him. He can let Angela have this. He don't need to be on this fucking show.
I'm starting to believe, like you said, he pulled a Kelsey Grammer.
Look, Angela is convenient for him. It's convenient for him as a wife, but I think he's grown tired of her, and that's why his behavior was what it was towards her. And it's also telling that when they were in where they was at, Grenada, and she couldn't get a hold of him on the anniversary.
Yep.
It's also very telling. And it's also very telling that he wouldn't invest any more money into her flipping properties, and she lost them.
Yep.
So I think he's of the opinion, well, you got this job. Great. I've set you up for that. And he's probably got an airtight prenup in place.
Yep.
And one of them houses that she's trying to flip is probably her parting gifts.
I do believe you're right, because you said you thought he pulled a Kelsey Grammer like he did with Camille on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I am, because I was like, oh my God, Kelsey Grammer. I love Phaedra. I love Kelsey Grammer. I really, really do. But what he did, but then I thought about it too. Camille got him the same way the new wife got him. He was already married to somebody else. So the way you get him is the way you're going to lose him.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to look at this.
6 o'clock on your Saturday morning. We start with tragic breaking news out of downtown Indy. IMPD telling us that 7 people were shot and 2 have died in a shooting just a few hours ago. Police Chief Chris Bailey went straight to the scene near Washington and Illinois, and the chief did not mince words in a press conference just before 4 this morning. Take a listen.
I don't know how many times I have to say it. We are not your children's keepers. You are. And parents and guardians have got to step up. A kid is dead tonight. And we just don't know the age of the young man down the street, still here, dead. He looks young.
Damn.
That was Chief Chris Bailey just heard from. Now
He's right. Parents, check your kids.
Had multiple crews downtown since about 2 o'clock this morning. Our Anna Chalker is live downtown near where that shooting happened, and she was at the Chief Bailey's emotional address to the press. And Anna, what do we know so far this morning?
Matthew, we know one of those victims that died this morning is a juvenile, and I will say all 7, there were 3 juveniles, 3 adults involved with this. We're still figuring out the second identity of the person who died. And this is still an active scene here behind me, nearly 5 hours after the shooting happened. So let me step out of the way so I can show you what is going on behind us. They have taken a large section of Illinois street that is blocked off for this investigation. The majority of this happening between Illinois and Washington. But as you can see, cops, investigators still out here this morning trying to pick up evidence, figure out what led up to this mass shooting. So I do want to show you the scene when our crew first got here earlier this morning to show you how large this scene was. It happened around 1:30 this morning.
Damn.
IMPD officers who were already downtown responding to a separate disturbance heard shots being fired off of Illinois and Washington. They were just a couple blocks down the road. When they got closer to this scene, they found 6 people who were shot. One of the victims died on scene. 5 people were rushed to the hospital. That's when police say one of the other victims, the juvenile, died. And then they say a 7th victim walked into the hospital later on throughout the morning. Like we said, in total, 3 juveniles shot, 3 adults still figuring out the identity of the one who died. Chief Chris Bailey says violence like this shouldn't have happened this weekend, especially when thousands were here in the city for the holiday.
It's unacceptable. The police department all night long went from place to place to place, trying to prevent these kind of things. And I gotta be honest, I'm tired of it. You should be tired of it. This is not our job to do this. It is unnecessary. You don't have to act like this.
Officers did take several people for questioning. We are working to figure out their involvement within the shooting. Several guns also recovered here at the scene. Back here live, still an active investigation over here downtown, mainly off of Washington in Illinois this morning. And I will tell you, as we were around here this morning, when we first got down here, thousands of people downtown, leaving downtown, either at a bar or at the fireworks. Like Bailey mentioned, they were talking about it's time for parents to step up with these kids who are here downtown. We'll have more sound from him coming up at 6:30. But once we have updates, we'll have those both on air and online.
Yep. So he did not mention the flooding in Indianapolis. He did not mention the flooding. And this is sad. So there's flooding in Texas. There's some in Minneapolis. There's also, Ukraine and Russia that are fighting right now, and they're striking each other. This is sad. But again, I wanted to show you the Alex Fine stuff. I mean, Hines. Ooh, Cassie's husband must be thinking about me. But anyway, Debbie, look, Alex Fine. Alex Hines. So, Debbie, how was your 4th of July, sweetie?
It's like, I think it was really quiet because usually I could hear the fireworks where I'm located. I really didn't hear that much, so maybe they're saving it for tonight. I don't know.
I don't know, but we didn't have that much around here either because I
Yeah.
slept like a damn baby.
I had so many plans for yesterday, like doing chores inside the house, because as you all know, I am staying inside of my house because I am renewing my passport, and I feel like an illegal immigrant right now without
Oh,
my documents.
okay. You said that, right? Did you hear?
Mhm.
Well, a friend of mine is she's the director of HR and at a big company in Houston, and they received a letter from Homeland Security asking them for their employee records. Okay. She said that the letter also included. She said it was I guess it was a general, not general, but you know how you can see where the emails and stuff went out. She said it went to Phoenix, it went to Nevada, it went to Florida. She said it went to Louisiana, and I think she said Washington. They're asking different companies that I know that they probably figure house, and she works for the Department of Transportation. Okay. They're asking for their employee records.
Yeah, I don't see, like, I'm not surprised by that.
Girl, they're getting ready to do a sweep.
Because remember during the campaign, he said that he was going to get rid of so much and so much illegal, undocumented criminals from the United States. Well,
It's
they're
not
mostly
criminals if
gone.
they have a job.
Right, but they still need to get to those numbers to satisfy the number of deportations to satisfy their base. So now when you run out of MI5 or not, what is it? What's the gang? When you get rid of all of the gang people and you get rid of all of the people that you have in custody that have some sort of charges against them or whatever, whether they've been adjudicated or not, what's next? You're looking for your gardeners, your housekeepers, your babysitters,
Think of all these people that work for transportation. You know, these are the people that keep your highways clean. These are the people that trim, you know, all of these museums that cut grass. We're talking about lawn people. We're talking about people that, come on.
But you know where they should have went
that
to
works.
first? They should have went to Trump's
Where?
Bedminster Golf Resort. Because did you see that clip about all
Yeah,
of
but
those
all those people that
housekeepers
came
and
forward.
groundsmen and
Yeah.
servers who are now suing him? And they have the documentation about how his HR departments tell them to go to this particular address so that you could get fake documents and send them back 2 and 3 times until it looked legit. And they pay for it, meaning the Trump organization.
Yep.
So everybody does this.
I,
so when you
yeah,
deport all of these people who butcher your meat and in the meat processing and gardening and home care and all of these people that do all of this
that pick
stuff
our
for us,
fruits. I'm going to
who's going to
California
take
so I
their
don't have to
jobs?
steal.
Because Americans don't want those jobs.
I'm going to be a picker in California. I don't have to jump out the car anymore and just go pick shit up. I'm just going to go say, hey, I'm here to work. But when I heard that, I didn't hear it. She told me, we were talking, and she was telling me, she said, this shit is not right. And then it says, and then it states that, you know, confidential. It's not confidential. It's going to get leaked.
But, and in saying that, you're going and you're taking all of these people out of the United States workforce. This is what they're not telling you. all of those people who are in the U.S. workforce are paying taxes, but they're
They
not
pay
getting
taxes.
any of the benefits back because they're
Nope.
just taking our taxes, taking their taxes, and they're paying into Social Security. They are paying
Yep.
into Social Security. And here's the caveat,
And they
because
won't be able to
they
collect.
won't be eligible for Social Security at retirement, but they're paying into that system. So when you take away all of that and then add on top of that the tax cuts that was just signed off on, we are in a hell of a lot of trouble.
And people think it's good. People think this is good. No.
It's not good because the first thing that's going to stop is milk, bread, and bologna.
Yep. Nope, you're never making supporters believe that because they want to make America great. No, that's not what we're
The problem with
doing.
Trump is that he cannot get to the deportation numbers that his predecessors achieved.
Did you see that somebody? It was stated right here by Marty. He said he wants 3,000 a day.
Right.
When you're going into companies that hire these people, what about the jails? What about the prisons? There are illegal immigrants working there. So, but you're asking for employee records. What? What? What?
Well,
Heidi, this is crazy. And she said they had an emergency meeting about if they're going to comply. Because I guess they already know.
Of course they know. Of course they know.
And this is a big organization.
In this day
And I
and
meant to
age,
call my
there's
friend,
certain
which
jobs.
I'm going to see her next week anyway. I meant to call my friend in Seattle to see if she's got a similar letter, but she was just telling me the different states. She didn't tell me what companies, but she was reading the states of where this letter had gone out to. And I guess it's probably about the same field, I guess. But yeah, this is crazy.
Well, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone.
Yeah. Debbie, I guess I was surprised when I heard they went. So if they go to Texas and they go to a lot of these meat packing plants in Texas, we're not going to have any meat on the shelves. You know what I mean? They go to Virginia and they go to Smithfield, which is now, it's not Smithfield. Well, it's still Smithfield, but it was bought out by a Chinese company. We're in trouble.
Yep. The food chain will collapse. What did that dairy farmer in Wisconsin say? The food chain will collapse within a week.
Yeah, we're in trouble. And I'm like, these are the people that think of, okay, I'm thinking of Texas personally. I can drive by a construction site, like I was on a Tascasita Road. Drove by, I saw they were building new apartments. Girl, within a week and a half, them damn things were up. They work at night. What do you think they're going to be doing? They're going to be going to these places at night where they know construction is being built, where most of the labor are probably illegal immigrants, but they're being, see what I'm saying?
Listen, I'm tracking my passport to see when it's coming back to me. Okay.
This is crazy.
I have nothing more to say until I receive my document in hand, which USPS says it should be back to me by Wednesday.
Exactly. But I remember before I even left, we were having meetings about the tariffs and stuff and how that's going to affect us and the money and the increase for the clients and the different people that we service. And now we're dealing with this. Are we crazy?
Yes.
I really feel bad for these people. I really, really feel bad.
Every day down here in South Florida, you see one person or another on the TV crying about the deportations, and they voted for this. When you need to really start voting for yourself and your wants and needs and start listening to what the politicians are telling you. There should be no surprises here. People are suddenly amazed down here saying, well, I didn't think that applied to me.
But he was saying it.
Thank you. But everybody down here holding underneath their belly crying. But I voted for him, but I didn't think it meant me. Okay.
My daughter-in-law right now has a job. She was hired to do a job on the base in London. Guess what? They offered her the money. Her job is on hold. Her job is on hold. Hired her, made her an offer, and then they put a freeze on everything.
Yeah. It's just like the first time I heard that was that dairy farmer in Wisconsin. And he was like, yeah, I voted for Trump, but I would have to hope that he and our governor would kind of like know that we can't survive. They know we can't survive without this. So it's kind of like make an exception for us. Kind of like what Lisa Murkowski did with Alaska. She got a carve out for Alaska because she's representing her people in Alaska with regards to this tax bill. And if you notice, her and Susan from where is it, Vermont? Susan, what's her last name? That other senator.
I can't remember.
The two of them.
Yes, I know you're talking about.
Flip-flop all the time with this. It's the same bullshit with those two. And you know, the people in Vermont had a chance to vote Susan out last time, and yet she won by a very narrow margin. But y'all gotta wake up in Vermont. Y'all really got to wake up in Vermont because she's not doing anything for y'all. She isn't. Because she sat up on our TV screens a couple of weeks ago when it came to the tariffs and talking about how, no, she's not Vermont. She's Maine. Sorry, she's Maine. And talking about how the lobsters got to go to Canada for processing, and that's crippling all of these family businesses. But yet you still signed this tax thing. How is that working for y'all, Maine? How? Murkowski and Susan are two of the most dangerous senators we have in the Senate. And they are just there.
This is crazy. But
they are just there like the rest of them to keep a permanent job. They are not there representing their people. Because how the fuck does Lisa Murkowski say that she did a carve out so it doesn't apply to Alaska? Bitch, you up there not only representing your state, but all Americans. How do you rest easy at night getting a carve out for Alaska and the rest of us gotta suffer?
Girl, there was another mass shooting in Philadelphia, not even 2 hours ago. But I just want to say this. Now, he signed a bill yesterday as well. The big, beautiful budget. Girl, stop. Anyway, I want you guys to know, if you got anybody in the meat packing business, transportation business, working for a state or working for a private contractor that is that has state contracts, they might as well know they're looking and they're coming. Period. They're coming. This is crazy. So I'm just saying, this is crazy. So
it's beyond years.
Like,
Wisco, this is going to take generations to repair.
But anyway, I'm going to.
And what's the most devious thing is a lot of these things aren't going to get kicked in until the next midterms, or even worse yet, the next election, the presidential election. So it will appear, because, you know, if they get voted out and the Dems get voted in, it will appear as if the Democrats did this.
This is crazy. And guys, this is actually 2 hours. Well, but 3 hours ago. Let me just. This is crazy. Another mass shooting.
Uniformed officers from the 3rd Police District responded to a call for a person shot on the 1100 block of South 11th Street, 1132 to be exact, at
So this is
an establishment called Seven Elements Restaurant Bar Lounge. Upon arrival, officers discovered 3 persons suffering from gunshot wounds. They were immediately taken to area hospitals. At least 2 of them are currently listed in critical condition. Since that time, we have learned that in addition to the 3 that police transported to the hospitals, an additional 8 have come into area hospitals, various hospitals in the area, suffering from gunshot wounds from this incident. So at this point, we believe there were 11 victims who were shot as a result of this incident at this particular location.
What was the incident?
We heard
What
that there is
started
a possibility that there may be another person, making it 12, but we have not been able to confirm that at this time. Given that there are so many victims, I cannot give you specifics as to where each individual was shot. However, they were shot in various parts of the body. The most serious injuries were a person working ostensibly as a security guard who was shot in the face, and also a woman who was shot in the back. They're both listed in critical condition. Others are reported to have been shot in the legs, extremities, arms, etc., and suffering other non-life-threatening gunshot injuries. The crime scene consists of multiple spent shell casings, both on the upper floor where the restaurant bar is located, and there are also additional shell casings on a stairway that leads from the upper floor to the bottom floor. More shell casings on the parking lot below. So we're not sure if those shell casings came from a gun that was fired above, or whether the gunman or gunmen continued firing even from the lower floors. We just haven't been able to determine that yet. It's still very, very early in the investigation. Given the magnitude of this incident, there are still a lot of unanswered questions. We have cleared the building itself. We have found no additional victims inside. However, there is a lot of evidence in there, money, identifications, that sort of thing. We're now combing through any video surveillance that might be able to give us some information on what exactly happened here this morning. Be more than happy to answer any additional questions if you have any.
Do we know?
Okay, he doesn't know what happened. They've got to comb through surveillance film. Girl, you're shooting inside of a restaurant with people in there. What the hell? Were they gambling? What was going on?
They were celebrating the 4th of July. Happy Independence.
Okay. Anyway, guys, be safe out there. Keep your papers on you if you have them. Look, I'm scared to run to the store. Debbie, look. I'm scared to run to the store.
Yeah. I'm staying low.
This is crazy. But you all, look, everybody have a great day. So, Debbie, what are we going to discuss tomorrow morning? Are we going live tomorrow morning?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, tomorrow afternoon. I'm sorry, because you be doing stuff in the morning.
No, we could do morning, because I'm really not leaving my house until I get back my my document.
Okay, so let's say we'll go live at 11 your time, 8 my time.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to discuss roomies. We're going to discuss New Gen, Real Housewife of Atlanta, Real Housewife of Miami, and I think Virgins. I don't know. But Debbie, if you're not watching The Gilded Age, girl, you got to watch The Gilded Age. It's on Max. It's good. It's good. And with the mass shooting they had in Chicago, they were talking about the rapper Mellow Bucks, and they were all on TikTok, baby, saying that's the life she leads. That's all she talks about is guns. And it was her brother and her boyfriend and another female that was killed. They're saying that's the life she leads. She's all about the gang life, so people shouldn't be sitting there and being surprised. I was like, damn, people that know her personally saying that she should have known this was going to happen. I was like, come on now. And then I listened to some of her music on I said, yeah, okay, that's all I needed to know. Gang, gang, baby, gang, gang. So, girl, these are young people. Young people. This is crazy. Then we have another juvenile that's dead in Indianapolis. We've got another shooting in South Philly. Mass shootings. We had mass shooting in Chicago. Then we had another TikToker that was shot and killed the same day, hours later, in Chicago. People, get your lives together. These internet beefs are not good. I'm telling y'all, this shit is getting crazy. They're taking it to a whole nother level. All right. I love you guys. Debbie, I need to make a run. And yes, I'm going to Costco and I will call you.
Yay. Tell them I said hello.
Look, I will, but I need to make a run and I am dressed. Look, I just got to comb my hair. I'm dressed. I just have to comb my hair, but I'm going to go make a run to Costco. Who is it making money on all these? I have no girl. They are. The politicians are. Anyway, I love you guys. I will talk at you later and be safe out there. Please be safe. Debbie, love you, baby. Talk at you later.
Too.
All right. Bye. Bye, guys.